Good morning, Los Angeles, and welcome to Defenders of the Bank. This is episode 313, the area code for Detroit, and sadly it's fitting because not only did LAFC get their butts kicked, but the Dodgers lost to the Tigers on the road. Grosse Pointe, Michigan is also in the map for the 313 area code. Why does that matter? And what does that have to do with LAFC? It's simple. In light of last night's recent match, simply the word gross. We are about 12 hours out from what has been the worst ass kicking we have ever taken, not only this season, but the worst at home ever. And as bad as it was, and as much as I'd love for the amnesia to kick in so I could forget about that abysmal performance, life at LAFC and life in the Western Conference isn't as bad as you think. More on that later. Really quick, some introductions. My name is Christian Filliman, otherwise known as Philly, the platinum-haired flamingo. And joining me, the mouth of the South Bay, J.R. Liebert.
The scarf. What's happening, everybody? Philly and I, look, before we even came on and started talking to each other, we had the same mindset. Philly sat down and I saw he was wearing my favorite EPL team's kit, AFC Richmond. And I go, hey, maybe that has something to do with what I put in my tagline on this, which was, of course, be a goldfish. And I got this guy right here. Yeah, I don't bring on Hello Kitty, but I'm going to bring on Coach Lasso because obviously after last night, I think we all, Philly, need to practice our inner goldfish and forget that this happened. It was a night of horror. We mentioned episode 313. That's the Detroit, Michigan area code. And yes, it includes an area of Michigan called Grosse Pointes. I can tell you the grossest point last night was definitely the fifth goal, the nail in the coffin of several nails that had already been put in the coffin. A rough night for LAFC for sure. The worst home match in our club's history.
Yep. I wish I could be on psychedelics and be like Coach Beard during the club scene. Part of me wanted to be really angry and go all Roy Kent.
Yeah.
And then the other part of me is just like, yeah, whatever. Sometimes mulligans happen, so I harness my inner Ted Lasso where, yes, we act as a goldfish. Yeah, no way to slice or dice it. There was nothing positive that happened in last night's game other than Nathan Ordaz scoring his first Major League Soccer goal. He did have a couple goals in the U.S. Open Cup, so he's had 3 throughout his career, his young career for that matter. But last night was just freaking awful. And I'm not upset. I'm more shell-shocked than anything. Plenty that could have been done, but as all the players, Ryan Hollingshead, Ilya Sanchez, and Steve Cherundolo indicated in the press conference after the match last night, everybody was bad. Everything about the game was bad. And not for nothing, Columbus is just really stinking good.
Yeah, I mean, look, we knew that coming in, right? I got a whole bunch of ration of garbage from all of you out there in Defenders land saying 2-2 would be the final score. Don't y'all wish we could have had that 2-2 final score for sure? That was, híjole madre. That was a rough one. Nathan Ordaz's 2 other goals, by the way, coming in Leagues Cup, which was kind of fun. We've got that coming up in just a little bit, so maybe Nate can get back on the score sheet in Leagues Cup. But Philly, man, without a lot of news and notes, without a lot of this day in LA history happening, LAFC 2 takes on Ventura County Football Club, Galaxy 2, today at 7 o'clock out at Titan Stadium. So maybe after the Euros, after Copa America, if you're not all footballed out, then head on over to Titan Stadium. Los Gross, or at least what used to be Los Gross, is playing our boys LAFC 2, and it's got to go better than what we saw at BMO Stadium last night. Philly, a rough match on a day where, look, this is a celebration of football today, right? We've got the finals of the Euros. We got the finals of Copa America. I thought we were going to wake up this morning, be able to continue the celebration from last night, but yikes, that was a rough one.
Yeah, rewatching the broadcast just to put together ideas and notes for this broadcast. I looked around as the game started. There were a lot of empty seats at BMO, and my initial thought at BMO was, where the heck is everybody? Dodgers are in Detroit. There's nothing else going on right now. I mean, obviously, maybe all the Uruguayans and Canadians decided to stay at home and watch TV, which I get. But it was really lame for the stadium not to be filled to capacity, especially with us welcoming back the defending champions. And as irritating as it was, y'all were fortunate not to have been there because you missed out on the biggest gut punch and crotch kick that we've ever had at BMO Stadium. There's a lot of weird things that kicked the day off. But before that, I just want to quickly highlight the fact that there's a kickball tournament going on in honor of Mo, the third annual kickball tournament that is. And there's 14 teams that are going to be max that are going to be playing in there, 9 to 12 players per team. And from what I gathered, there still is plenty of space. I think there's only 6 out of the 14 teams that have been filled. Defenders has a team. And by the way, we're looking to fill that roster. So if you want to play, let us know. DM the Defenders of the Bank account. And we'll see if we can get a spot for you on the team. We'd love that. So we'd love to be competitive. Obviously, it's for a good cause. If you want to be on the Defenders team, we've already taken care of the payment and the entry. So we're in. If you want to play kickball, hang on, it was August the 4th. Let us know. But again, it's for a really good cause, for the Mo Facio futsal court. So just wanted to make sure we highlight that real quick.
Kick a Ball Pod says he'll be our number 9, which is pretty great. I love it. Turns out LAFC is desperately waiting for that number 9. Last night didn't really help much at all, but yikes. All right, Philly. Let's rip the Band-Aid off, man. Let's get right into it. Let's start talking.
Wait. Defenders merch. Make sure to go to defendersofthebank.com. If you notice Scarf at Christmas Tree Lane, he had that awesome t-shirt on. It was the prototype. We've got some other cool concepts coming through. And yeah, just wanted to make sure we highlight that. And by the way, Scarf, the 3252 LAFC and the LAFC Foundation teamed up with the city. Oh, do you want to go into this? You're nodding your head.
Teaming up with the city of Cudahy, right? Because we're basically they're starting a league out there, and it looks like the field that was originally slated to be part of the LA Department of Recreation and Parks is now going to be part of the city of Cudahy. The Colibri Field in honor of Mo Facio will be the name of the field out there in the city of Cudahy. Scheduled for spring of 2026 is when the construction or the resolution or whatever it is going to be done. So all of the money raised thus far, it was originally going to go to the city of Los Angeles, and that Mo Facio field that Rec and Parks for Los Angeles was going to be able to make happen. But that being said, it was going out now to the city of Cudahy, and the Colibri Field in honor of Mo Facio. So make sure if you do donate, lafc.com/Mo-Facio. Now you know where it will be going to, as the plans have changed just a little bit, but still building a field in honor and in memory of Mo Facio. Their league that LAFC, the 3252, and the LAFC Foundation started in Cudahy started yesterday. So the league kicked off July 13th. I believe they have resources and everything to carry the league through at least the first 5 years as of right now, from what I've read. So it's a pretty cool thing they've got going on out there in the city of Cudahy. That being said, too, Philly, you mentioned the stadium a little empty. I do have to say, I looked over in the north end. 3252 was ready to roll from the jump. It was the 3 other sides of the stadium. Maybe that's what threw Ollie off a little bit last night. It was rough. Maybe an ominous omen with Ollie kind of getting lost in the concourse, according to Jason, who just DM'd us over on Instagram, Philly. He said Ollie got lost in the concourse last night as she went behind the stadium there. But she was back, in no time there for, I think, the 10th minute, which means we still weren't losing at that point yet. So we got Ollie back before she had to unfortunately watch all 5 of those goals last night by the Columbus Crew. And look, you and I kind of joked about it a little bit, Philly, that maybe this was the battle for the U.S. men's national team job, right? With Wilfred Nancy going up against Steve Cherundolo. The winner gets to replace Greg Berhalter as head of the U.S. men's national team. Well, I guess in that respect, Philly, then LAFC hopefully dodges a bullet, because I think if the U.S. Soccer Federation is watching that match last night and thinking the way we are, it wasn't a technical knockout. It was a full on, maybe 5th or 6th round Mike Tyson style absolute demolition by Wilfred Nancy and the Columbus Crew.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's kind of funny. The U.S. men's national team, like social media, has gone on to say, yeah, we know Cherundolo out. This kind of Justin Ruderman had a funny tweet about it. It was like the early inception of LAFC, where everybody was like, no, we don't want Steve Cherundolo. No, we need somebody better. And now so many people are like, no, we don't want him to go. Yeah, all the Cherundolo out people seem to have gotten quiet, but I'm sure that picked up a little bit of steam for the people on the fence, in particular after last night's matchup. Steve's had quite a bit of success in Major League Soccer and quite a bit of success with LAFC. What he's not had success with recently is finding out a way to combat and compete against the Columbus Crew. We had so many shades and reminders of the game in Columbus, the MLS Cup final last December. They were a tough nut to crack. It was hard for us to get out of their defensive end of the field, and we're obviously going to talk about that. But yeah, I just can't believe that. Let's put it this way. We've had a 13-game winning streak in all competitions come to an end. The winning streak itself, utterly incredible, by the way. A loss was going to come in some way, shape, or form. And as confident and as on a high of a perch as we thought we were at some point, we clearly got some work to do, because if we have to face Columbus in the MLS Cup final, that's going to be even more nerve-wracking than a regular season matchup that we just had against them.
Yeah, Philly. Steve Cherundolo said it in the press conference. He'd rather lose 5-1 once than lose 1-0 4 or 5 times, right? And I think what's most important to encapsulate in a loss like this is that it wasn't one guy. It wasn't one play where, oh, if only, I'm just throwing a name out there. If only Ryan Hollingshead would have got to that ball, then they wouldn't have scored the goal that we lost 2-1. Or if only, Denny Bouanga doesn't hit woodwork instead of finding the back of the net, then we win 2-1 instead of a 1-1 draw. No, this was an entire team effort to suck this badly. From the coaching staff and the way that they prepared the players to the way that the players played out on the pitch. They looked flat-footed, disinterested, lost every single ball, showed zero energy for much of the match. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable to say that the entire team put out an absolute stinker of an effort, but I find a little bit more comfort and a little bit more solace in the fact that we all sucked so that it doesn't seem as bad for some reason. And Gerardo Rios is saying something in the chat that I think might have also been exposed yesterday as well. You and I, we have the pleasure of sitting in Founders Club for the matches, and about 4 rows over from us, sitting watching the match to our left, was one Timothy Tillman. Obviously, Timothy Tillman on yellow card accumulation suspension, was supposed to be suspended for the Houston match, but Hurricane Beryl had other plans, so he was suspended for this one. And I think what we are seeing, what Gerardo is saying, what many have said in the chat before, is that while we played ourselves into some very good depth, what we wound up seeing in this match is that maybe that depth is not so rich as we were to believe. Obviously, no Aaron Long, or at least Aaron Long not used in this one and has not been used for a little bit. So maybe a little bit of depth issue there on the back line. Certainly, I think the drop-off, Philly, is real, right? From Eric Duenas and Timothy Tillman, or from Kai Kamara and maybe some of the other players up top, maybe David Martinez right now. I don't know. But it's being exposed a little bit, and unfortunately, Columbus just didn't make a misstep at all last night.
No, the saying, you win as a team, you lose as a team, was very evident, because just going back to your point, everybody was just simply awful. I've never seen such a poor collective performance by LAFC. I mean, we let in 5 goals at BMO. We've never lost that bad at home. And historically, this is only the 4th time in club history that they've allowed 5 goals. Twice in 2018 against Minnesota on the road, and down in Atlanta, and then you fast forward to decision day against the Colorado Rapids at Dick's Sporting Goods Park a couple of years ago, where they lost 5-2. This is the only other time where we've allowed 5 goals, and it wasn't great. You talk about our depth pieces, the people coming off the bench. I looked over at Columbus, and who did they bring off of the bench later on in the game? Matan, Yeboah. These guys were starters in the MLS Cup final. It was insane to think that Nancy was going through reinforcements to bring in those guys, and they had an immediate impact in the game, even scoring and assisting, which is wild. Matan is a fantastic player. I mean, you're going to go through the starters for the Columbus Crew. 8 of those guys started in the MLS Cup final, and they looked good back in December of 2023. They look even more convincing this year. And yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of work that we have to figure out. I mean, just having a tough time threading together a few consecutive passes. I mean, we broke through them a couple of times, had a few opportunities, which we'll get into, but I just have never seen LAFC manhandled in the way that they've been manhandled. It was eye-opening and very sobering at the least.
Yeah, Eduardo, to answer your question in the chat, it is certainly the first time we've given up 5 at home. That's for sure. So it was a rough one, just all across the board. Let's get into it. You mentioned going through their lineup. Obviously, Wilfred Nancy is the head coach. They came in 3rd in the East, but that's a little misleading. They have a couple of matches in hand on the teams above them. 11-3-6 on the year, just 3 losses in all of their matches played so far. 5-2-3 on the road. 5-2-3, just 2 losses in 10 road matches coming into this. And the 2 players of note that were out in this one is Jason Russell-Rowe, who was with the Canadian men's national team taking on Uruguay in the 3rd place match of Copa America. And did I say Uruguay? Yeah, Uruguay. That's right. And Aiden Morris, who he's been out for a while now. He's over at Middlesbrough, played his last match for them a couple of games ago, but still what we thought would be a relatively big loss. No Aiden Morris. It was Sean Zawadzki and then Alex Matan coming in to fill that spot that Aiden Morris usually occupies. Zawadzki played a solid match. Matan much better in limited minutes. We'll talk about that in a minute. They came out in a 3-4-2-1, which really allowed Columbus to press and press and press. And I don't think they stopped pressing. I think actually their team bus was pressing other cars to get out of BMO Stadium as they left to try to get back to LAX. They just kept pressing and pressing and pressing. That was rough. Chris Lafferty, I'm upset at how astute that comment might be. I'm putting it on the screen for all of you to see. So they're 3-4-2-1 that they come out in. A player who has really been a revelation since he came out for them last year, the MLS Next Pro goalkeeper of the year 2 years ago, and then the MLS Cup winning goalkeeper last season, Patrick Schulte. He's also on the U.S. men's national team radar now and is a player who really seems to be playing himself into some prominence for sure. The 3 on the back line, we had kind of highlighted the Steven Moreira and Denis Bawanga matchup coming into this. It is clear that Moreira and company got the best of Denis in this one. Rudy Camacho and Malte Amundsen rounding out the back 3. In the middle, Mo Farsi, Sean Zawadzki, Max Arfston, and a player who, again, when they build the MLS Hall of Fame, whenever that might be, one of the first inductees into the whole thing needs to be Darlington Nagbe. He is as special of an MLS player as you will ever see. And I don't say that as like a backhanded compliment. I just say that as what? The guy has 5 MLS Cups, and we are extremely lucky to be seeing a player the caliber of Darlington Nagbe. If he just somehow happened to wear black and gold to end his career, I think that would be an incredible thing for LAFC. And up top, Philly may be the most lethal 3 up top in MLS right now. Christian Ramirez, who we all know can't score with his feet at BMO, didn't need to worry about that. Diego Rossi and Cucho Hernandez in the 18, the 5 that we would see. Philly mentioned Yayaboa and Alex Matan. They were the first 2 to come on, along with Marino Hinestroza, who didn't want to hang around that long, Derek Jones, and Taha Habrune. Those would be the players we would see for Columbus. Philly, name names, and let's talk about the victims of LAFC.
Yeah, and it would be Matan, not Matan. Matan. It's Romanian. Matan.
Matan.
No. Well, I mean that now you're harnessing your inner Ted Lasso. Yeah, that 3-4-2-1, man. I mean, that's what crumbled us in the MLS Cup final too. You talk about Cucho and their record, dude. Team with the best goal differential. So yeah, their place in the standings very misleading. LAFC strutted out a solid lineup, a lineup that has been really talented for us in the past. Hugo Lloris, who was tested early and came up big a few times, started in between the pipes. Sergi Palencia, who's been outstanding for us. Jesus David Murillo, Chris Lafferty, favorite player of the year. Maxime Chanot. By the way, anytime the public address announcer at BMO comes out there and says, Maxime, I do hear a spattering of crapauds every once in a while, which is kind of funny. Folks, you're saying crapaud, get with the program. And then Ryan Hollingshead. In the midfield, Edward Atuesta, Ilie Sanchez, and making his start, Eric Dueñas. And up top, Matty Bogusz, Kai Kamara, and Denis Bouanga. We would see several substitutions thrown in that of Nathan Ordaz, who would be the only positive story that we can pull out of last night's matchup. Eddie Segura would come in making his 100th appearance in Major League Soccer, which is awesome. We would see David Martinez, whose attempt led to the Nathan Ordaz goal. Who am I forgetting? It was Omar Campos came in with that when Steve went to the bench to pretty much do a line change. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that was it. That subbed in. Oh, no, Tomas Angel also checked into the game. I almost forgot about him. So that's who checked in LAFC. Again, no Timothy Tillman due to yellow card accumulation. And, this accumulation and these card scenarios did not only plague us last night, they're going to unfortunately plague us on Wednesday against RSL, as we will be without Sergi Palencia and Jesus David Murillo. But we'll talk to you about why that's the case if you didn't watch the game or didn't go to the highlights. Scarf, as mentioned, was a little upset at LAFC fans, other than the people sitting in the north end, because that was at capacity. But a lot of gray seats in the building. Unfortunately for them, they didn't see this. Again, kicking things off right off the bat, Columbus had a really solid buildup. Christian Ramirez, who had his family in the building, so I didn't want to boo him all too much. You know, he connects with Denis' old FC Lorient teammate in that Steven Moreira. Great pass on the right to Mohamed Farsi, who had another great cross in the box, and it was Cucho with the header. That was denied by Hugo Lloris. Hugo with a monster save to kick things off. That would be pretty much the microcosm of the way to sum up the game. Just on the attack, being aggressive, stringing together a lot of passes, and getting a lot of great opportunities. They showed that right from the get-go.
Philly, it seemed like everything in the first half. I actually asked a couple of people around me if I didn't know if maybe the grounds crew was trying to replace the grass on our attacking half of the pitch, and maybe we weren't allowed to use it for the first half, or maybe it was still getting settled in. I didn't really know what happened, but we didn't use half the pitch for the entire first half. The field was definitely tilted in Columbus's favor. And the fact, Philly, that we get into the half only down 1-0 was a huge victory. 38th minute. I mean, it looked so easy for Columbus to carve us up down the left-hand side. Cucho and Max Arston playing a nice little two-man game. You take the ball. No, you take the ball. No, you take the ball. No, you take the ball. And while all that's going on, we are flat-footed in the middle of the box. A nice little run by Christian Ramirez to move to the front post, goes around his man, who I believe that might have been Maxime Chanot, but I have to go back and take a look. It's a short run to the front post, far too easy. We know that Christian Ramirez can't score with his feet from very close to the goal. So he says, no problem. I got a giant dome piece, blonde hair. Here I come through the middle. and heads it right back over. And honestly, into goal. Felt like it was coming for quite some time. It was the buildup of the buildup of the buildup. And finally, they get one in very easy fashion down that left-hand side. Just the flat-footedness of LAFC coming to bite us for the first time in this match. 38 minutes in, Crew up 1-0. And then Philly, the only other moment of note, I think, that you and I noticed in the end of that first half is a 41st minute yellow card to Sergi Palencia, who came into the half on a yellow. When you get one in the 41st minute, means you have to play the other 49 minutes on a yellow card. It's difficult sometimes to do that, especially a team who's attacking and attacking and attacking and attacking like Columbus was. But Philly, again, it actually felt good. I don't know, good, relieving, bullet dodging that we got into the half 1-0.
To answer your question, it wasn't Chanot that was broken through in the 38th minute. It was Palencia.
Palencia.
But yeah, it was a brilliant setup. And the irony of it being Christian Ramirez, right? I mean, the guy couldn't hit water falling out of a boat with LAFC, but he had no problem scoring with Minnesota, no problem scoring with the Houston Dynamo, no problem scoring for Aberdeen, and clearly no problem scoring for Columbus. He gets a sixth of the season. I forget what he did within Houston, but I mean, guy was a goal-scoring machine in Minnesota. Just couldn't do it for us. He did give us a few glimpses, though, in the first half of why we don't miss him, because he did sky it a couple of times. But, yeah, you're lucky. Other than an opportunity where Kai had a header above the crossbar on a few occasions, we really weren't threatening whatsoever. Columbus had 9 shots to our 6. They had 3 on target to our 1. And possession, I don't think this was accurate. The 62% felt more like 75% that Columbus had the ball. And the way they were just picking us apart, I mean, over 250 passes at 90%, they had no problem stringing along their offense, getting through us. And to that high press, it was just stifling. So many turnovers were caused. I mean, we had a couple of opportunities, but really, it looked like a JV team going up against a really, really good state-winning varsity team.
Yeah, Philly, you mentioned it. Kai Kamara was really the most threatening of any of the weapons that we had. That header, his ability to get up. I did forget. I'll say this out loud so that everybody can hear it. I forgot how big Christian Ramirez is. He's a tall dude. Like, as a striker, he's a bigger guy out there. And so his ability to get up on some of these plays, we're going to talk about him, unfortunately, being able to do it a second time. His ability to get up on set pieces, on those set designed plays, like clearly that was where, the run up the left-hand side, a little cross into the box, and he makes that run. Definitely forgot how big and how much of a weapon he can be in that way. Either way, second half, no changes by either side going into the second half, but it doesn't take long, about 10 minutes in. And look, Philly says this phrase all the time, so I'm going to say it. Sometimes you just have to tip your hat off to someone. And I think in the 56 minutes, sometimes a world-class player just takes a world-class strike. I'm a little frustrated at how flat-footed we were on defense, how nobody closed down on Cucho, how Hugo, I don't think he could have gotten to it. I think it was a
not with the way
shot.
That ball was curling. No way.
It was, it was like a wiffle ball. It was curling so hard. I just think Philly, we lose this game 4-1 or 5-1. It doesn't feel any different, but that was simply a world-class strike by Cucho Hernandez. Could be the goal of the week in MLS. And you just, sometimes good players do really good things. And that's definitely what that was.
I mean, yeah, to your point about the defense being flat-footed, Cucho was way far outside of the 18. We're talking several yards. I remember just watching the play come through. Once again, they were stringing together a couple of really good passes. But when Morera connected with Cucho way outside of the box, didn't think anything was going to happen. And then he just saw the space. When he fired that shot and it hit that corner, my jaw dropped. I stopped talking. Panda and I were having a conversation about something, and I just stopped. I could not believe my eyes. An absolute world-class goal. Banger. Cucho's 12th of the season. No hesitation. The minute that pass came over to him, to have the wherewithal to just let it go. He didn't even touch it and fire it. He just smashed into it. It was gorgeous. Shell-shocked was the note that I wrote, and that it would just be the case. And it would only get worse. It would only get worse. Because, seconds later or minutes later, we had a shot by Mohamed Farsi that hit the post after a nice pass from Max Arfson. That was your 0-3 right there. But seconds later, it would occur as Edward Atuesta totally forgets that Diego Rossi is not on our team anymore, hence your tweet from last night. He set up his old compadre really easily, and Diego Rossi slots in a goal. And to his credit, though, he wasn't going crazy. He wasn't as happy as Christian Ramirez was when he scored. But, Ramirez was here for a cup of coffee. Rossi is a big part of our history. He put his hands together, making a prayer motion. And, at that point, we were done. The game was over. And, just their trifecta of Cucho, Rossi, and Ramirez, their top three scores. The guys who came in having scored 23 out of the 40 goals that Columbus had coming into this game, they're the ones that ended this for us. And just sucks that 2 out of those 3 players were once wearing black and gold jerseys.
Philly, I think it was Ryan Hollingshead that said it in the press conference. There were a lot of individual players trying to do individual things last night, which led to this looking and feeling and being as bad as it was on our part. And I think no more so than what we saw in the 60th minute, that absolute nightmare sequence from Edward Atuesta. First, he gets his pocket picked, right, by I think it was Mo Farsi, who was pressing, picked his pocket, and then tries to do way too much. If you look, Maxime Chanot is right there. He is ready to defend this little over-the-top pass from Christian Ramirez. Chanot is in perfect position. He's got the offensive player lined up right in front of him. Hips are turned. He's looking at it. But maybe auditioning for the next Karate Kid movie is Edward Atuesta, who comes jumping in with a flying kick, taps it right to Diego Rossi. And Diego's not going to miss from there, bangs it off the inside of the post. And just like that, we're 3-0. And you're absolutely right. I did notice as soon as he scored, he put the hands above his head and said, I'm not celebrating this one. That lets your teammates know you're not celebrating. That lets the 32-52, who he scored right in front of, know that you're not celebrating. I love Diego Rossi. He is pure class. Mendo says it as well in the chat. Class from Diego Rossi. Yeah, he put his hands up saying, look, I got one. I know, but I'm not going to celebrate as badly as I would like to in this moment. We've seen that once or twice, unfortunately, against LAFC. But just kudos to Diego Rossi. But a nightmare sequence from Edward Atuesta. And I would have been angrier at it because you guys know I'm really looking for more from Edward Atuesta this season. But the whole team sucked. So I didn't pick on Edward Atuesta last night because none of them were any good. In fact, I thought Atuesta actually played okay in the moments where he needed to be a little bit calmer and he needed to be on the ball or be dropping back a little bit more. I didn't think Atuesta was terrible in the 60th minute. He was, but that's all right. I think they waved the white flag a little bit, Philly, after that goal. 67th minute, we saw Omar Campos, Eddie Segura, and David Martinez come on. Look, Kai Kamara coming off, sure. Eric Dueñas coming off, sure. I have to ask the question, Philly, because you and I were sitting there. We asked the question. We had Lalo and Gaston, our friends who sit right in front of us. They were asking the question. I'm just going to ask. I probably should have asked the question last night in the press conference, but I think Steve would have taken my head off if I did. So I didn't ask the question. Yeah. Why sub out Ryan Hollingshead, who said he was okay after the match in the press conference? He said, didn't pick up an injury with my foot. I just had a hard tackle. I was fine. Why sub out Ryan Hollingshead and not Sergi Palencia, who's on a yellow card? Hindsight being 2020, right, Philly? Hindsight being 2020.
Yeah, I mean, yes, hindsight being 2020. I mean, that was a decision that's costing us for the next match, as Palencia will not be available in the game against RSL, and we have a short turnaround. Palencia's been awesome for us this season. He's really stepped up. I mean, he had one of his best games ever against the Galaxy at the Rose Bowl. So to not have him in the game, and even to keep him in the game with it pretty much being over at that point, yeah, I don't clearly understand why that was the case. Look, I've been trained to talk about the who's and the what's, not necessarily the how's and the whys. But in that case, yeah, like you, I beg the question, why leave him in there? There's really no point. There really wasn't any point at all. But, the silver lining, if there is one right there, is that, hey, Eddie Segura comes in and gets his 100th MLS appearance. That seemed fine for a little bit. And as the score is 3-0, thinking, all right, this one's over, the crew would continue to bulldoze through us. And by the way, I just noticed something really quickly, which kind of perturbs me. On a side note, Scarf, we apparently have to pay for a Twitter premium account now to be able to stream our show on Twitter. Because I'm looking through things and I see an exclamation point by X, and it says, yeah, we need to subscribe to Twitter. We have to pay for a blue effing check mark to be on Twitter. Damn you, Elon Musk. Damn you.
I see we have you guys can't see this on the back end. We have a little green check next to YouTube right now, a little green check next to Instagram, and not a green check next to Twitter right now. Thanks, Elon. Yeah, look, we like to jokingly say that anything happens in the 80th minute, that's the Philly minute, and anything that happens in the 83rd minute, that's the Scarf minute. So we had a Philly minute substitution with Nate the Great, the Wonder Kid, coming on for Denis Bouanga, and then in the Scarf minute, all hell just kind of broke loose for Sergi. Here's what I don't understand, Sergi Palencia. We're down 3-0. We do not look like we are going to come back, let alone score a goal in the entire match. Why? Why are we making that second silly yellow card foul? Why? You have to know, Sergi, you're on a yellow. There's just 7 minutes and stoppage time left. Let the guy go by you. We need you for RSL. What are we doing? No debate on either yellow card, by the way. No issue with refereeing on that yellow card or the first one. But don't worry, Philly, because it gets worse. Off of that set piece created by the yellow and now the red, we're down to 10 men. Alex Matan, who came in off of the substitution, an okay ball, sure. Little cross into the box. Christian Ramirez looking at the ball, jumps up and heads it back over himself. He gets a little touch on it. Doesn't really even change the angle of it all that much.
No.
But we got caught ball watching, got caught flat-footed, got caught disinterested, maybe looking up at the score going, all right, maybe they just want to play out the string. We just want to play out the string. Let's get into the locker room. No, my friends. Christian Ramirez, who again can't score with his feet, scores with his head. Again, that's a brace for Christian Ramirez. Look, the kid from Yorba Linda, I really wanted him to succeed here at LAFC. Local boy does good. I was really hoping that would be what we would say. Unfortunately, local boy does good against local boys. That wasn't great. His second goal of the match. We're down 4-0 in the 84th minute. But at least, Philly, there'd be a little breath of, I don't know, positivity, fresh air. Yay, in the 85th.
I really thought we would have that positivity when Denis found the back of the net, and it was ruled offside. And I'd really have to go back to take a look at that again, but there wasn't that much debate for anybody on the pitch, at least none that I recall, nothing that was noteworthy.
Yeah.
And then, we sub in Nathan Ordaz, which leads us to the only positive thing that we can pull out of this. We wouldn't be shut out at home, thankfully. Really the only silver lining of the performance to note. 86th minute, you had David Martinez, who took a shot somewhat outside of the box that was saved by Patrick Schulte. And that ricochets and bounces on over to Nathan Ordaz. There was nobody on Columbus there to clear it. And Nathan Ordaz gets a clear look and scores his first Major League Soccer regular season goal. So congratulations to Nate Ordaz, the old razzle-dazzle. But just when we thought we had a moment to celebrate, cut into the lead, you made a joke. Oh, greatest comeback of all time coming through. We had one of those moments for the fifth time of the game.
Yeah, look, I do want to make a quick note. Ilya Sanchez with a great pass up top to Nathan Ordaz on that. And then Nate does a little backheel thing to keep the ball alive. You know, it goes to Maddie, who finds David Martinez, and the rebound comes out to Nate. It was nice to see us deliver a line-splitting pass like that from Ilya. Ilya having that captain's armband on, I think he knew he was coming out. He made his best play of the night for sure. Tomas Angel would come on for Ilya after the goal, and then Christian Ramirez and excuse me, Christian Ramirez and Diego Rossi, yikes, would come off after that goal as well. And in the 89th minute, the kid had been on for what? I don't know how long. Philly, your favorite player, Alex Matan, with the goal. Look, Darlington Nagbe.
Yeah, the buildup was.
I feel bad for David Martinez. He's 18 years old. He's just getting back after 3 months of a back injury, and maybe he's trying to do a little too much with the ball. I don't know. But Darlington Nagbe, who is not 18 years old, in fact, I think he's at least twice David Martinez's age, and I'm not being hyperbolic. I think he is actually. Just undresses David Martinez, pokes the ball away, drives forward, sees Matan. Matan does a great job on the left-hand side of, again, you mentioned it with Cucho's strike, Philly, how he didn't even think about touching the ball first, took it with a one-timer. The pass goes over to Matan, and he does the exact same thing. Instead of taking a touch, curls it right around Lloris. 5. I would be curious to find out, by the way, I got to go back in the transfer market, see the last time Hugo gave up 5 in a match of any kind.
You'd have to go back to Tottenham easily.
Yeah, right? LAFC giving up 5 at home for the first time. Might have even been 4 at home for the first time, but I have to go back and look. Definitely 5 at home for the first time. We got absolutely crushed. And Philly, down 5-1, stoppage time coming. It couldn't still get worse, right?
Oh, red cards, man. Red cards. And I do think the red card that was issued to Muri was a bit harsh. You talked about appealing it. Steve had mentioned something about going through the process as well. Didn't think that was a red card worthy. But the other red card that was distributed was well worth it because there was a kick and an apparent hook thrown towards Muri. So that costs us yet again, just when you thought things couldn't get worse. Now we potentially lose another defender for the game against a top team in the West, in that of RSL. That's where it was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, between Ali going on a walkabout, us letting in 5 goals for the first time at BMO, the worst loss that we've had this season since the RSL snow game, and only the 4th time that we've allowed 5 goals in club history. April 7, 2018, July 22nd, 2018, November in 2021, Colorado 7-13. Now sucks. But to not have Moody, and regardless of how many times he's frustrated us in the past, this is a time that I'm not necessarily going to blame him because I don't think he deserved that red card.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, right? Let's talk about it real quick. Our back line. No Sergi. So that means Omar Campos and Ryan Hollingshead getting the starts on the wings. And I think Maxime Chanot and Aaron Long look to be your starting center backs. I'm going to make a prediction. There's a player that I have been hoping would come up from LAFC 2 for quite some time, Luca Bombino. Luca Bombino plays outside back, so a position that we absolutely need a little bit of depth in. I think LAFC will be calling in a player or two from LAFC 2 before this match, and I think one of them could certainly be Luca Bombino on the outside. I would be surprised if we didn't. But Philly, the other thing is this will be the final match, Wednesday, July 17th versus RSL, the final match before The window opens up on the 18th. So before Hugo Lloris, my goodness, Olivier Giroud
Yeah,
officially
wrong Frenchman,
becomes,
Scarf.
I know, wrong one. They don't all look alike. July 18th, Olivier Giroud becoming a member of the black and gold for sure. We know that that is happening. Who knows what else could be happening? This match, I don't think it changes any plans at all that John Thorrington and everybody had. I think it just highlights some of the deficiencies that we have. Lafferty, more on that in just a minute. You hold your horses with the all caps. I think that the final match, RSL, being without those two, although maybe we could see Murillo's red card get rescinded into a yellow. Although, was he on yellow card accumulation too? I don't know. We have to look.
No, he wasn't. I remember checking that. He was not in danger of yellow card accumulation prior to that moment.
Excellent. So I think we could maybe still have Murillo, but our depth certainly in question. We'll see. We could have Kike Oliveira back. I don't know. It's a lot, but yeah,
they were done as of yesterday. And by the way, he came into the game, and we're watching Canada take on Uruguay, and boom, there's Raito. Boom, there's Kike Oliveira.
They came
on
at the same
world
time.
Stage.
Right? Yeah. So kudos. I think he didn't play all that much for Uruguay, so I think he'll be good to go to at least give us a half against RSL. I think it'll be a lot of fun seeing that trio back together up top. That trio being Matty Bogusz kind of playing that hybrid role along with Denis Bouanga and Kike Oliveira, maybe moving Kai Kamara back to the bench. Or look, in this match, maybe seeing Matty Bogusz play in the midfield along with Atuesta and Timothy Tillman, giving Ilie a little bit of a break and letting Kai Kamara play up top with Kike Oliveira. But yeah, don't forget, Philly, Tuesday the 16th, we got third kit for the first time in club history, the Los Angeles Aztecs inspired kit, which we will be wearing against Real Salt Lake. It was announced at the stadium. They will be wearing that third kit in the match against RSL.
I have to ask why Aztecs? Because they never had a logo with the name right here. They had the logo of the crest right above the heart, but they would only have the line that would be in right there. I don't see the Aztecs nod.
So it's the same font that they used, or at least a near font that they used for their same color in that burnt orange, although we weren't able to use it as. So basically what happened with this third kit is they really wanted to lean heavily into the LA Aztecs old kit
I
design.
see it. I see one with George Best wearing something similar, but still, it doesn't say anything in right there. But I do see what you're talking about with the font. That was back in the day when Elton John had ownerships.
Yeah, the people that own the copyright for the Aztecs, from what I understand, really were difficult to work with in terms of wanting this to be an homage to the Aztecs. So as much as the club tried, and it's a white kit, so I can't wear it out very often because I'm a mess. You definitely can't wear it out ever anywhere. Come on, we've met. So I love the idea. There's also going to be obviously the shoes dropping. There's going to be a whole line around this. It's the first time we get a bona fide third kit. I have been told by the people at LAFC HQ that it is still going to be a slim fit kit, and that the fact that that band in the middle kind of wraps around, that it will hug a little bit, which is the last thing Scarf needed to hear. That's for sure. That it'll hug a little bit around that midsection. So you may want to size up on these kits. I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like in person, right, Philly? We've seen all the leaks. We've seen all the internet stuff. I want to see it in person. I'm still on the fence about picking up one day one, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even picked up this season's kit, to be completely honest with you. At some point, I will when costs go down. And here's a suggestion, just a fun one. And I'm going to suggest this because it rarely, if ever, happens. If we allow more than 3 goals, and we lose by more than 3 at BMO, why not there be a concession at the store where you can get up to 30% off? 10% for each goal that we've lost by. Why not? We hardly lose at home, and we hardly give up that much. We could only throw it in from time to time. I think that wouldn't be an awful idea. I think it might spur people to want to go out there and spend the money on the kit. Because I got to tell you, $175 $175 for an authentic without any kind of personalization. That's a lot of money. That's more than a hockey jersey costs. That's almost as much as a baseball jersey costs. Way more than what a swingman NBA jersey costs. $175, yeesh, a discount. On days where we lose, I would accept that.
Yeah, like just after the match, right? For 90 minutes after the match, head down to HQ, get a discount. I'm all for that. I do want to remind everybody, Mendo's right in the chat. Over at Plaza Mexico in Linwood from 11 to 3, Sergi Palencia, and interesting to see what mood he'll be in, and Matty Bogusz will be at Plaza Mexico from 11 to 3 in Linwood. That's like right now. It's like 5 minutes from now. So after you're done listening to Defenders, now that you've watched it live and you've experienced all of this, let's head out to Plaza Mexico. Philly, we got
Hang on,
Euro
I think
Cup
Timothy
final.
Tillman's out in Glendale.
Where is he today?
Keep talking. Hold on. I'm going to confirm something.
All right. So we've got Euro Cup. Well, we got the Euro Cup. We've got the Euros final today. We've got Copa America final. We've got Matty Bogusz and Sergi Palencia out at Plaza Mexico. Philly's double checking on Timothy Tillman right now. I didn't hear about that one. Timothy Tillman being anywhere.
Yeah, I saw it, and I know. Okay, yeah, right here, Sunday, July 14th, from 1 to 2 p.m. at the Glendale Galleria. Yeah, there's Timothy Tillman. So, done by PacSun. So Timmy will be out in the Valley. I know a lot of people are like, how come they don't come to the Valley often? I agree with you. Now's your chance.
Yeah. All right. And last thing, Philly, look, at least at the end of the day, everybody else up top lost, which was good, right? Galaxy losing, RSL losing, FC Cincinnati losing. So there's a little bit of a silver lining. But look, we're all going to be a goldfish about this one. We're going to forget it. We're going to throw it away. And we're only going to talk about it again if we see Columbus in the final. And you know what? We might see Columbus in the final. So let's see. We'll bring up all these old demons. But Philly, let's just put this one in the old trash bin and move on.
Yep. Don't be a Roy Kent today. Don't be angry about it. Ish happens. I would advise to be a Coach Beard. Take whatever you need to take to have some fun today and to forget, or as Scarf just showed, Ted Lasso. So you could go with Scarf and be Ted Lasso and be a goldfish and forget, or you could party with Philly and Coach Beard and do what you got to do to alter your state of consciousness and have some fun. But other than that, Scarf, who do you have again for England versus Spain?
Look, you're taking England, so I'm taking Spain. I have no dog in the fight, so I'm just going to be on the other side of you.
There's my England jersey, and bought in the beautiful town of Cartagena, my Colombia jersey. So go England, go Colombia.
All right, I like it. Look, I think I'm going to say this. I'll give my head prediction is I think it'll be.
That just sounds funny.
Stop it. I think it'll be Argentina who wins because, they win all the tournaments they play in now. But my heart is going with Colombia as well. All due respect to our Argentinian listeners out there. Y'all won the last Copa America and y'all won the last World Cup. So I rooted for y'all in those two matches. But today, you know what? I'll take Colombia. Good luck to Colombia. It'll be fun.
Oh, wow. We might actually root for the same team for a change. Good deal.
Yeah.
I got nothing. I want a goldfish today.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.